Good morning, and welcome to Who Am I? We're just going to have fun this morning. I think a lot every day about what this show is, why I'm even here, why do I do this? And I'm just going to have fun this morning. I'm going to muse about the cosmos. I'm going to ponder my identity. I'm going to pull together my integral perspective to understand who I am. Let others do the same for themselves because, you know, pardon me, I'm just looking at my stream analytics. It appears that everything is excellent and healthy, and we will see whether or not this attempt at a live streaming session, whether it works. I've been trying every day for the last few days, and every day I have some kind of issue, whether it's keyframe issues or that was actually a big one, but it wasn't the only one. Pause button issues and anyway, so what are we going to talk about today? We're going to talk about source energy because that's really important. What is source energy? Who am I? Actually, I am not going to look in the chat room, and occasionally I'll mention this again. If you are in the chat room talking to me, for the moment I am not looking because I've got to get my vehicle up off the surface of the planet. And every time I look at the chat room, kind of thunks me down to, oh, do they like me? Is anybody watching? What do they think? And in some ways, what you all do out there is none of my business. Whether you like me, whether you listen to me, I need to be doing this because I want to do it, not because of any specific reaction I'm going to get out of you. So I'm not going to pay any attention to whether anybody's over there. I imagine there isn't anybody. I'm not doing anything that really draws attention to my feed. And that's probably a good thing because right now, if I had 20 people in the room listening to me, I'm not sure what I'd sound like. I need to get my legs underneath me. So who am I? Who am I? I am a vibrational being in a vibrational universe. And it's more than that. There is a structure to this universe that is knowable. And then your own particular specific story, your spin, your experience, what you make of it, how you run with it, how you imagine your past, how you define the meaning of everything that's ever happened to you specifically in your life, that one's up to you. But there is a structure to this universe that we can understand. And with a foundational understanding of just that matter-of-fact structure, now go back and revisit your life, revisit your religion, revisit everything you have ever loved. Because love is a very special signal. Love is telling you something about our organization. It's actually fundamentally at the core of all of this is organizational forces. How does matter organize? And that includes you. That includes life matter. That includes... It's everything. It's everything. How does this universe work? And how can our understanding of how this universe works lead us to the place where we understand how to fix our hold on a second. Our, uh, where are they? Where are they? Problems. How do we fix our problems? Well, if we understood the structure of the universe, we would be able to see through our problems as being actual opportunities. Opportunities for every single one of our problems is fixable. And I'm going to tell you how. It's fixable because we already have invented all the technologies that we would need to do anything that we needed to do. Recycle garbage, resequester carbon, desalinate ocean water. How many other things would we need to figure out how to do in order to solve every problem, every ecological disaster that we have already caused? How could we go back and fix it? Well, we could do all of those things because we have the technology. The problem is the energy source. And so I want to talk to you about energy because it's really interesting. It's very, very, very interesting. So I heard Bashar mention a kid who had invented a device that put out energy. And Bashar just spat out the guy's name, the kid's name. So I went and looked for it. And it was a kid that had come up with a device that didn't take very much. It was like $14 worth of something or other, supplies, and put it together in such and such a way, and it da 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 da. So anyway, the video I clipped on, though, was actually a different person who was trying to debunk the kid. And I don't know whether the device worked or not. That wasn't really what my issue was. The fact is that he looked at it and he said, first of all, I can tell that this is a scam because in order to do this, the kid would be defying the laws of physics. And this is what we have been taught, and it's crazy wrong. It is not defying the laws of physics. The laws of physics that this guy is imagining is that you cannot create energy out of nothing. And the fact is he's not creating energy out of nothing. There is nowhere where there isn't already a field level energy source, energy level that is almost infinite everywhere. There already is almost infinite energy everywhere in the field. It would be like saying Einstein, splitting the atom, creating that enormous energy thing was creating that energy. Well, he wasn't creating that energy. He was unlocking that energy. That's kind of what it is. There is energy everywhere, and we can unlock it. We just have to start believing that we can unlock it. That's the first thing. But I was musing this morning because I'm not a technician. I'm not a technician, and it's not going to be my field to invent that device. I want to shout from every rooftop, it's possible, it's possible, it's possible, it's possible, it's possible. Because, we're not we're not getting that collectively as a message that it's possible and that we should be putting our collective mind to figuring it out, But what I was thinking about this morning was, from a different point of view, the ultimate structure of the universe. And if you hold on one second, ultimate structure of the universe. Blah, 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 blah. Hold on. Sorry about that. The recording did not get that, and since there isn't anybody over there in the chat room at the moment, nobody is watching. So I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna say that again. What's the difference between these two? Let's see. The stream has been up. The stream. Oh, I think I can tell this in OBS Studio. The difference in time. The stream is 12 minutes and the recording is 10 minutes. I think I missed about 2 minutes. I was thinking the reason that law of attraction, psychology, and physics, law of attraction, and psychology, why they all fit together, the reason that they do, is because it's all about spin. Spin is the organizational force, but it's more than that, because the spin is how to understand gravity, and both of those two things is how to understand love. And all of these things together is how to understand organizational forces. Then you've got to understand, who am I in all of this? How does my consciousness fit into all of this? Who am I? Who am I? And that's why I stake out this little bit of territory. Who am I? And I was telling my husband yesterday, one of the reasons that I think I've done this is because there have been times in my past when people have gotten me wrong. They have thought that I was coming from one place when I absolutely was coming from a different place. And there was no record of who am I, there was no way to keep them from believing their dark thoughts about me and my intentions. And this is like a record of me. I've been doing this for over a year. I named it Who Am I? November 26th, 2023. That was when I first started labeling the recordings that I did. Now, admittedly, recently I've tried to add the live dimension to my repertoire. And it has been a mixed bag of success and failure. You know, technologically, I've had issues trying to get my OBS and YouTube studios to play nice with one another and get their streams to agree with one another so that the recordings came out smooth and, you know, people could hear me live. And anyway, hopefully I'm getting better and better at that. And now I'm trying to flex the muscles that are not just speaking who I am, but with the possibility of other consciousnesses, other ears actually listening to what I'm saying. Now, I've had people listening, but not live, not in the moment. I would post it as a video and then wait and see. Once I had over 300 people check into a video that I had. I don't know how long anybody really listened because the video was like an hour long, hour and a half, I don't know. So, who am I? I'm going to get back to the concept of spin, love, and gravity, because these things are really significant, impressively significant. I can't even tell you how important these are. I couldn't emphasize it enough. Spin, love, and gravity. They are actually all the same thing. And they are all fundamentally the organizational forces that organize matter, that organize us with all of the details of the things that we want to do, that we want to take care of, that we want to make sure that we pay attention to, that we accurately respond to. It's spin, love, and gravity. Spin is actually what the quantum oscillators are doing, what the Planck field is doing. It's either spinning or roiling. It's either spinning from its own center, joining others in some other momentum of center, or it's roiling without spinning. But the field is this spinning. And who are you in all of this? Well, as Abraham will point out, you are a vibrational being in a vibrational universe. And you are source energy extended into a physical body. And source energy is one thing. We are one thing. We are one thing, spinning. And who you are is you have two vortices that have anything to do with you. There are two vortices that have anything to do with you. One is the source one from which you come. The second one is the one that is yours to operate from yourself, yours to call, yours to spin however you want, yours to claim, yours to identify with, yours to play with. And how you blend those two has to do with how your physical emotions, your emotions, it tells you what your emotions are, how you are blending your two spins. And so literally, quite literally, the rest of the field is spinning. And actually the spin of the rest of this field, I'm going to tell you things that sound crazy, and you'd be like, well, if it's that big, why doesn't everybody know about it? Well, it is a field of knowledge and information that has taken hold and is growing. And at some point, the collective field will understand its truth. It's sort of like quantum physics in the first place, back in the 1920s. It took decades before scientists and more scientists and other techs and started understanding what the heck they were saying, what quantum physics was saying about electromagnetic fields, and how the gradual grasping of this concept led to all the technologies of the 20th century. And there is a new understanding on the horizon in this moment that includes who we are, what the whole field is as a oneness, what source energy is, what spin is, what gravity is, what consciousness is, all of these things, what the Big Bang was, what it is, how Big Bangs happen, because there's more than one, because there's more than one universe. There's a multiverse going on, and all of these things, this new understanding of energy that's going to lead us directly to be able to understand how to pull energy directly from the source of all energy. Or there's other ways to do it. There's other ways to do all kinds of things that do not involve the burning of a fuel source in order to get us energy. We don't need to do that. We need to understand ourselves. That's the whole meaning of the whole show. Now I've gone 18 minutes. I'm going to pause for just a second. So I'm back from checking over on YouTube, and everything is lovely over there. The problem is that there's nobody over there watching me, and that's okay. Indigo is probably busy, and my other person, right off the top of my head, I cannot remember their name. So hopefully I will have somebody on the replay, perhaps my brother. Let's pick a different slide. Let's go to, is it this one? The Planck units. This is what we are all made of. This is actually the fundamental building block of the universe, is this. It's Planck's. But the fundamental moving structure of the universe is spin. And this is just profoundly true. And it has to do with the organization of all things, the organization of all matter, and the organization of all human endeavor, too. When you think about how we organize, whenever you're trying to organize anything, whether it's a bake sale or a softball team or a new business or a family reunion or a there you organize, and then you move, people start moving within the organizational structure that was started, and it all comes back to what's at the center of the organizational structure, the intention at the center of the organization. Is it in alignment with the truth of who we are or not? And if it's not in alignment with, if it's got negative beliefs, negative patterns woven into it, which is not who we really are, then as the momentum of it builds, the problems within the structure, the organizational structure, will start to show. And don't worry, those will get bigger and bigger and bigger until the whole thing becomes this gigantic visual aid to the truth of the structure of the universe. And that is what is going on right now. Do not take your physical life too seriously. This is one thing that I have learned. There is a place where I think about the world where I don't take it very seriously. There is also another place where I am right here in my physical body, concerned about comfort and safety and drama and, resources and all that kind of stuff, just like anybody else. But there is a place in my consciousness where I am free from that, where it is just my neutral voice. Ah, I see that. Ah, look at that. Ah, isn't that interesting? All the way down to things that might be emotionally triggering, like knee-jerk triggering to a negative reaction, like things like the Holocaust or war in general, or just imagine any kind of cruelty, violence, or behavior that I do not prefer, that I do not believe that I am, and that I do not want to perpetuate. Any of that kind of stuff. If you can look at all of the world from a neutral place, neutral to positive. I don't want to get boring. I don't want to get boring with all of this because it's not boring. I'm telling you, literally, gravity and love are the same thing, and they are organizational forces in the universe. And with really big objects, you can see the organization. You can see the organization of storms, hurricanes, tornadoes. You can see the organization of planets, solar systems, galaxies. It's all spin. It's all spin. And the spinning field behind the whole spinning field is the 96% of dark matter and dark energy that they haven't found yet. That's what it is. They haven't added in the spin of the field. That's what's holding it all together. It's not gravitational forces coming from, pulsing out of the few objects that you see in a vast sea of space. The whole sea of space is connected. It's a plasma. It's a one thing. The universe is alive, and you are alive in it, and you are worthy, and you are expanding, and you are love, and you are gravity. And quite frankly, if all of us could generally and collectively understand this point, this general collective structure that we all are, and then lean into it, be yourself, spin your own story however the hell you want to. And in a way, it doesn't matter what anybody else is doing, or you don't have to keep track of that. The only thing you need to keep absolute track of is your own alignment with your source. And your source is the same source as anybody else's source, but it's pinned to you where you are in your specificness. That's why it matters. That's why it's different. That's why it's different for you than it is for me, because your spin is tethered to source from where you are, and my spin is tethered to source from where I am, and only I can call it from where I am, and only you can call it from where you are. And that's how we need to start understanding the structure. We need to quit trying to force one another into better behavior, and try to remember that we need to soothe and encourage one another to alignment. And there is no one out there that we should be rooting for their failure. We should be rooting for their alignment, so that they will come back from their misaligned, angry, negative places and realign with the rest of the field in a joyful, playful, harmonious, loving, interconnected, interwoven, all-inclusive, because it is all included. It is not for us to be subtracting this and that because we do not like it. We did not create it. The great Creator created all of it and all of us, and if it's here, then there's a reason for it, because it is one integrated wholeness. And if you don't like the aspect of it, then it has something to do with how we are churning it, because the potential for peace and harmony, synchronicity, beauty, abundance, joy, all problems solved, it's all there. It's all sitting right there. All, when we ask, it is answered, but it's answered vibrationally. And you got to go find the inclusive, allowing, playful, joyful, hopeful, be more than hopeful. It's the knowing that, wow. Sometimes I sound to myself like a preacher, but I'd rather sound like a scientist. And sometimes I'd kind of rather sound like Esther. And then sometimes I'd like to sound like a life coach or a psychologist, and then sometimes I'd like the world to just leave me alone, and let me just enjoy the beauty of this day, the woodpecker out on my willow tree, or a round of 9 with my husband. So who am I in all of this mix? I am a human being, born and raised here on planet Earth, mostly in the 20th century, but the last 24 years in the 21st century, the first 40 in the 20th. Why does that matter? Well, each and every one of us is actually just a perspective. And in a way, we are dust in the wind. And in a way, we are dandruff on the shoulders of God. But in a way, we really aren't. And the more that we align with our source aspect, then the more that we are truly in partnership with this great whole project reality. The leading edge is physical reality. So Esther talks about the leading edge, this leading edge conversation we're having. And, her audience pats itself on the back and goes, yeah, we're smarter than anybody else. What she's really meaning is all of physicality itself is the leading edge of everything. So, and then she assures us that all of non-physical and all non-physically focused beings are actually focused here with you in this physicality too. They're sort of non-physically focused in this physical the interesting part of what's happening is here and now in physical reality. So, what my little project has been a project giving my internal, pure, positive voice a platform to speak so that she doesn't just speak in the background to me, talking to me all the time, these pure, positive thoughts that I hear all the time. And then I take these pure, positive thoughts and I bask in them and I'm listening to them. And then I look out in the rest of the world and I'm like, oh, wow, if I pull these directly out to the rest of the world, they're going to think I'm mad because look at what's going on in the world. People are crazy. They're fighting with one another. They're killing one another. They're murdering one another. They're so afraid that they aren't going to have money, that they aren't going to be able to do what they need to do next. I promise you, if you will align with your inner being, you will be able to get a hold of the one definition of abundance, that the only one you would ever need, if you would just define it fundamentally as this: my ability to do the next thing I need / want / need to do in any given time. Do I have the resources to do the next thing? And if the answer is yes, eternally yes, since life is a project of action, that's all you would ever need. That's all you would ever need is to be able to do the next thing and the next thing and the next thing in correct order, in correct alignment with what your inner being knows how you fit most blessedly, most mutually supportively with the rest of the group. What your inner being knows. Well, let's talk about this. This is my favorite topic of all time, the topic of the inner being. What is the inner being? Now, I just put this on Planck units just so that somebody might be enticed to think that I was talking about something scientific. Ooh, she's got Planck units up there. Is there math? Now, that's probably the wrong approach, because the math people are going to come over here and go, shit, there's no math. I am going to leave. But my show does advertise that it is law of attraction, unified physics meets law of attraction meets human psychology, all from a layman's perspective. And that's what I'm trying to deliver. Unified physics meets law of attraction meets human psychology from a layman's perspective. I'm the layman. This is my perspective. It's also not just a layman's perspective. It is a pure positive perspective, because that's what I am practicing hitting in this show. Pure positive. The negative, I will leave it to its own devices. The negative will find me. I realize that when you start spinning pure positive, at first it seems unrealistic. It's like, but in actual fact, that's where you have to start from. You have to start from this pure, clear, vibrational frequency, and then and this, from this particular perspective, all things are okay. It's all fine. It's all fine no matter what happens. It's all fine. And I'm going to tell you why it's all fine. Because who you really are, who I really am, who all of us really are, is the Planck field itself. Spinning into form whatever is our desire. It's actually, you get whatever you think about. And that's why it's really important to think about what you want instead of thinking about what you don't want, because you're going to get whatever you think about. Because that's part of the organizational force of the universe too. It's how you are spinning what you're doing. Is you don't have to know what you're doing. It's what you're putting your attention on. Wherever your attention is going and what you are focusing on and what that frequency is, that's what matters. Literally matters. in physics what matters. It's what organizes matter. And so understanding who you are and how this whole thing works, um, the object of the exercise, I imagine, would be to learn how to get really good at focusing very clearly on what you want, and as best you can, adopting techniques that helped you not focus on negative things, because you don't want to move that direction. You don't want to move towards a darker world, a meaner world, an uglier, dirtier world as you focus on any of those aspects. So, how do you do this if it turns out you're looking around and maybe the world isn't everything you'd like it to be, and you don't want to be an ostrich, you don't want to be delusional because, you know, those really super delusional people who will not look at reality. We watched a show it was a Brokenwood episode about this crazy person who, although she didn't end up being the murderer, everybody thought she was because she was so creepy and scary and such a stalker and would not listen to anybody's. Oh, she was so sure that her and this other guy were in love, even though he didn't want to have anything to do with her, and she would not hear. Oh, anyway, I don't want to be delusional. How you do this? This is a technique. What you do is, instead of, like, don't look away in full cloth. What you start learning how to do is extract aspects that you like from things that you don't like. So say you don't like your job, right? And you want to go to a different job, but you don't know how to get to a different job, and your not liking of your job makes it sort of impossible for you to move away from that job and find anything other than a job that is full of the aspects that you don't like about the first job, because you can't move from a negative impetus. You cannot have the reason that you move meaningfully in any direction be from a I don't like this, and so I'm going to go over here because I don't like it over there, or whatever. It can't be a negative. It has to be a positive. So how do you do that? So what you do is you start looking at the aspects of the job that you do like. Oh, well, I do get to work from home, or I do like the people that at the office, or I do like this aspect of this, or even if it's nothing more than, well, I do like not being out on the street because I have no money, in that way it is a path of least resistance. And so you just start. I learned how to do this when analyzing religions, because from a long time ago I realized that the true way to understand the truth behind whatever anybody was trying to say was to not look at them in whole cloth, but to realize that they were all trying to amount to the same thing. They're all blind men trying to describe an elephant. And the true way to understand the elephant was not to decide whether to believe this man or that man, but to add them all together and try to fathom for myself what they were all trying to point at. And that's what I did with religions. And so I never took religions in whole cloth. I would sort of swallow them like an owl swallows a mouse, and then, barf up the bones and the fur and stuff that I found indigestible. So the places where they harped on about fire and brimstone or hell, or things that just sounded wrong to me, because I was like, I don't know if I really go for that. Those would be like the bones and the fur that I would barf up. And the ideas about love and wholeness and eternity and the inner being. The inner being is actually more of a religious concept than a scientific concept, but I think that there's somewhere where it the two tracks meet, you know, that I it's like my inner being is mm, a vibrational reverberating, it's like an aspect, cosmic aspect of my greater self. It's an no, how is it that I put this? It's part of my vibrational cosmic anatomy. It's an aspect of myself that links my little conventional physical body to the data stream of the entire universe. That's what my inner being is. And she's trying to give me guidance about what I really like. She knows what I like. She knows what I love. She's standing right where my love is. What is my love? My love is at the gravity point. It's at the center of 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 all the spins. It's the center of the source spin. My inner being is standing right there, knows what I want, but it's more than that because she knows what everyone else wants too. And when she guides me to what I want, it does not step on the toes of what everyone else wants. It actually leads us all to a very blessed position, a win-win-win-win-win-win position. And it is my deep desire for the rest of my life to preach this one song, to sing this one song. We are looking for the win-win, and you can't leave out anybody's win. You can't leave out your enemy needs to win. And by the way, you need to win. You can't leave that one out. People leave one or the other out. In the win-win, you're looking for the win-win. What's the equation that equals the win-win? Well, you don't have to find it in your physical mind. Get into alignment with your greater self and then go find it in your physical mind. When your physical mind is lined up energetically in in I hate to say the word alignment, in alignment with who you really are and how it really works, this spinning Planck divine matrix of wish fulfillment, or actually focus fulfillment. You're going to get your focus fulfillment. And if it's your wishes, great. If it's your fears, oops. So learn how to focus, learn who you are, learn how to believe in your inner being. The reason you can believe in your inner being is because Nassim Haramein has done the math that shows us how the universe is holographic. The universe is holographic. It's doing it by virtue of, I'm just going to rest somewhere else, not on, the way that it is doing it is through a reverberating interference pattern created by all the Plancks, and there are a lot of them. There are billions and trillions of them inside a single atom, and there are trillions and jillions of atoms in the universe, and besides that, there are way, way, way more Plancks than there are in any atoms, because all the empty space around you is a roiling sea of Plancks, the Dirac sea, the Planck field. That's what the 21st century understandings are going to be underpinned by. This understanding of this divine matrix, this field that connects us all. And its spin, its organizational force, its data transfer, and how you and your consciousness are standing right in the center of all of that. And you, in your personal life, in your personal self, in your specific self, can either understand this and take advantage of this understanding, or you can not. I mean, it's up to you. You may not even run across it. Hardly anybody's going to run across me. At some point, I'm going to have a better logo and I'll have a better presence, and people are going to start helping me. I will have help on my terms. But that's not happening yet. What's happening right now is I'm just getting really good at giving voice to my pure, positive self who knows that there is nothing but wonderful in front of us. And if we would just focus there, we could pull it to ourselves way, way quicker than if we keep looking around going, yeah, but look at what those people are doing. They're so negative. I don't care. I mean, I do, obviously, but I don't care. Just focus on what you want. And what I want is I want humanity to understand who we are. Now, I didn't really get into a lot of stuff that sometimes I do. I think we've been genetically modified. I think that's one of the reasons. And one of the reasons I believe that we are is because of what our neocortex create. I think that the genetic modification created our human emotions. And the reason that I think that somebody would do that to us on purpose is because of how really important and powerful our emotions really are. They are an instrument, a cosmic instrument that sings to the field. And when you can learn to play this instrument without taking things personally, but rather know that whenever you are hitting any kind of positive emotions, you are hitting pitches with your inner being who is in touch with the whole rest of the field. She's calling you into experiences that you will love and organization structures that will be beneficial to all of us. Follow the guidance of your inner being. How do you do that? Pay attention to how you feel. Because when you are in a state of negative emotion, forget about the fact that it is telling you something about a condition you don't like. Duh, whoop, big whoop. Who cares that it's telling you about a condition you don't like? You don't have control over conditions. I don't have control over conditions. Not from the outside. Not like that. And you don't even want really to control conditions from the outside with force like that. You want to influence them from the inside with frequencies. Because what you really want to do is influence them to be in the frequencies that you are wanting. Peace, love, cooperation, co-creativity, order, beauty, that sort of thing. So you go hit those frequencies. And then from those frequencies, now you start to organize the field. You just got to understand how this works. And when humanity understands how this works, we're going to be able to spin the most glorious fabric here on the planet of biology and beneficent life and joy and fun and beauty. I can hardly wait. I can hardly wait. And so what I'm going to dedicate my show every day my show is dedicated to a pure positive look at the possibilities, looking at who we are in structure. What is our biotechnology? How can we use that to make a better world? How can we better understand our biotechnology and use that understanding to make a better world? Whatever it is you're trying to organize. Like I said, if you're trying to organize a bake sale, or if you're trying to organize a family reunion, or a softball team, or a new business, a restaurant, or anything that you are trying to organize numerous people and factors and forces into a common intention. Primary importance. the frequency of the founding organizational intentions, because whatever you put together, it's gonna grow, it's gonna expand, it's gonna get bigger. And if you weave it with negative threads, some years down the road, you're gonna start reaping some negative benefits. So I'm 50 minutes into the recording, 53 into the stream. I'm going to go check really quick to see whether I ever picked up any people, because I'm actually getting close to the place where I could quit. I have decided to make my shows about an hour long. Let us see if I have anybody in here. I have an excellent stream. My stream is healthy. I have no listeners, and I don't know why. Everything's going very well. Well, you know what? I'm not going to worry about it. Actually, I think this is a good thing, because when I first started recording at all, I was awkward. And now, as I'm going live, I'm still awkward. I'm awkward again because it's a whole new thing. And even if there's nobody here listening to me, the potential is always here. Now, I need to get some sort of front page that, does something that attracts people over to my discussion. No likes, no views. Well, you know what? I'm going to have my daughter test this. I will be back tomorrow. And then I'm going to take a couple of days off because we are going to go watch the grandson play in a football game in Tempe over the weekend, just like jet setters do. Fly in on Friday and out on Saturday. So anyway, who am I? Who am I, and how do I believe that my better understanding of who I am and how this works is going to bring us all to a better place? Well, my understanding, the clearer and clearer and more clear I get about my understanding, the more I will radiate and emanate it out to the rest of the field. It is my belief that it is our job to broadcast who we really are authentically from the inside. We organize our world from the inside. We influence the world from the inside. We influence conditions from the inside, not from the outside. And a really important part of this equation, like I said, it's a win-win. And the two things that you forget to have win in the equation, one is your enemies. You always forget to have them win too. And as a matter of fact, if you would figure out that equation so your enemies won too, as well as I win and you win, immediately they are not enemies anymore. So that's how you I know it sounds simplistic. It's not. It's when you eliminate that which is impossible, what you are left with, however improbable, is the answer. And since I know that certain ways of looking at this do not work, the other one that is typically left out of the win-win in the win-win equation is yourself. When you start realizing how big and important and magnificent and amazing is this great universe that we are all dancing with and a part of, it can be easy to think that you are nothing, especially when you realize how little control you have over conditions. But you are not nothing. And how you gain influence is to find your alignment with your inner being, your inner vibrational self, in touch with all the rest of the universe. She exists on that point, that dimensionless point where we all are, at the center of the center of the center of the center of all things, where all the frequencies are all right there together. And the way to find her is go find the frequency. Well, what is her frequency? She is always okay. She is always okay. She is sitting in the neutral. She's sitting right there in the neutral to positive zone. Or maybe she's, I don't know. I don't know. Neutral to positive. She's right there. Sitting from contentment all the way up to joy. Go find her. And it doesn't matter what you're thinking about. But when you can align your thinking brain with the pure positive, loving, hopeful, connected frequencies of your inner being, the structure of the universe starts opening up to you. And then you're going to look around and go, oh my God, what the heck am I going to do about this? I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. And so that's kind of where I ended up. I didn't know what to do because I realized how little control I had over conditions. I mean, we are 350 million here, or thereabouts. I really don't know how many Americans there are. There's over 300, and I'm assuming there's less than 350, but I don't know. There's a lot of us. Over 300 million of us. And there's 8 billion or less, there's about that, humans all over the planet. And each and every one of them has a wildly different story. Every one of us has different parents. I have different parents from my 3 full siblings. Every one of us has a completely different story. We're all different ages. We're all different generations. We're all different ethnic, everything. We have different religious beliefs. We have different histories. We have different tribes. We are all different. But there is a Venn diagram aspect of ourselves where we all overlay. There is a place where we all win. There is a win-win position for humanity, and that's where we all understand that we are part of a greater organism. Quit fighting with one another. It's like an autoimmune disorder. There is plenty for all of us, and there is plenty to go around. And the only reason that it seems like there isn't is we've been working very vigilantly, creating a state of lack for a while. But we don't need to create a state of lack. We could create abundance. One of the things that's causing it is the way we burn fossil fuel, the way we have to extract it from around the planet, the way we have to ferry it around, move it around, and it destroys ecosystems as it goes. And pipelines are piping oil around the planet instead of water like it should be. Our veins should be running with water, not oil. But we don't need to be going back to an agrarian existence. What we need to do is move on to a galactic existence. Plug into who we really are. Understand free, clean energy and gravity and love and connection and consciousness. By the way, who am I? Now, I'm over an hour, but I'm going to go back and check in the studio to say goodbye just in case anybody ever found me. It's only going to be probably my fans. And if it was, go back and watch the replay, and I'll try to be back tomorrow. Will I be back tomorrow? What's today? Wednesday. Yes, I will be back tomorrow. And then Friday and Saturday I will not be. So let me go back to the studio and see whether I'm back. I'm back from checking on my studio, and I'm getting ready to close the show. I'm glad that you have been with me. I appreciate your consciousness. I appreciate your connection. I appreciate your interest. And until tomorrow, when I will come back and attempt to do it again and again and again until I am so sure of this material that you could not knock it off. You could not convince me otherwise. I'm pretty much there anyway. But until tomorrow, when I hope that you will find me, come find me and let's frolic together. And until tomorrow, remember, may that source always and ever be with you.